What's good, y'all? Welcome to Eras Examined, where chart stats, music facts, and honest opinion is at the forefront. Listen, we are all about the eras. In today's episode, we will place a huge spotlight on Aaliyah's One in a Million era. Aaliyah's One in a Million album is a classic in of itself, with amazing imagery, futuristic alternative sounds, hip-hop edginess, and a new wave of R&B that had everyone's attention. Additionally, this era brought a revival to Aaliyah's career after the tumultuous ending of her first musical endeavor. Of course, we will discuss that in a future episode when we place a spotlight on Aaliyah's Age Ain't Nothing But a Number era. Aaliyah began working on her sophomore album in August 1995 at the age of 16, after her uncle Barry Hankerson signed a distribution deal with Atlantic Records. Aaliyah was formally signed with Jive Records, but after the illegal marriage she was blackballed by the industry, and unfortunately, no one wanted to work with her. Fortunately, though, Aaliyah persevered through the negativity and found producers and songwriters such as Diane Warren, the Isley Brothers, Rodney Jerkins, Jermaine Dupri, Vincent Herbert, Marvin Gaye, and most notably, newcomers Timbaland and Missy Elliott. Aaliyah taking a risk with Timbaland and Missy Elliott proved to be successful, as this album would revive Aaliyah's career and help start theirs. Side note, contrary to popular belief, Aaliyah wrote on this album, she wrote a song entitled No Days Go By alongside Reggie Burrell and Craig King. Put some respect on Aaliyah's name. That song is such an underrated bop. But anyway, let's get back to the video. Believe it or not, Aaliyah had fears of changing up her sound during her shift to Atlantic Records. But Aaliyah made the best of it and found major success. In an interview with Billboard, Aaliyah explained, I wanted to maintain my smooth, street musical image, but wanted to be funky and hot, yet sophisticated. And let's keep it 100, that's exactly what Baby Girl did. Aaliyah released the One in a Million album on August 13th, 1996. But before we get into the album's chart peak and sales, let's get into these singles. Aaliyah released 6 singles from this project and was met with rave reviews from critics, peers, and fans. Aaliyah released If Your Girl Only Knew as the first single from the One in a Million album on July 15, 1996. If your girl only knew that you was kissing her to talk to me, she would probably leave. The single charted well on the Billboard Hot 100 and Billboard R&B Hip Hop Songs chart, peaking at number 11, with the latter peaking at number 1, remaining there for 2 weeks, respectively. The single charted in the United Kingdom as well, peaking at number 15 on the UK Official Singles chart and number 4 on the UK Hip Hop R&B Singles chart. The single also charted and peaked within New Zealand's top 20. The One in a Million single was released as a B-side internationally, but wasn't officially released in the United States until later in 1996 as a non-commercial single. Aaliyah released Got to Give It Up as the second single from the One in a Million album on November 4th, 1996. Long as you're grooving, there's always a chance. The song featured Slick Rick and was a cover of Marvin Gaye's #1 hit of the same name. The single was released internationally only. The single reached number 34 in New Zealand. The single also charted in the United Kingdom, peaking at number 4 on UK's Hip Hop R&B Singles chart, number 10 on UK's Dance chart, and number 37 on UK's Singles chart. Aaliyah released One in a Million as the official third single from the One in a Million album on November 26, 1996. Baby, you don't know what you do to me. Between me and you, I feel a chemistry. I won't let no one come in. This song was arguably the best and most iconic song of this era, The One in a Million single increased the sales of the One in a Million album, causing it to gain a new peak position on the Billboard 200 chart on the week of February 1st, 1997. Unfortunately, this song was unable to chart on the Billboard Hot 100 because it wasn't released commercially, but the song charted elsewhere. The single peaked at number 1 on the U.S. R&B Hip Hop Airplay chart for 6 weeks and the U.S. Rhythmic chart at number 2. As mentioned earlier, this single was released as a B-side to If Your Girl Only Knew in the United Kingdom, so the chart statistics are the same in their territory. Aaliyah released 4-Page Letter as the 4th single from the One in a Million album on March 18, 1997.
I'm sending him a 4-page letter, and I enclosed it with a kiss. And when I write him, he better get it on time. I'm sending him a 4-page letter.
The single was released to great reviews, with critics praising Aaliyah's vocal delivery. The single peaked at number 12 on the Billboard Hot R&B Hip Hop Airplay chart and number 26 on the U.S. Rhythmic chart. The single was met with some moderate success internationally. Aaliyah released The One I Gave My Heart To alongside Hot Like Fire as the album's 5th single on August 25, 1997. The single was praised by critics as Aaliyah showcased a higher range of her vocal ability. This ballad was the most successful single released from One in a Million, peaking at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. The single also charted well on the U.S. Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart and the U.S. Rhythmic chart at number 8, respectively. The single also charted internationally, most notably the United Kingdom on the UK Hip Hop R&B Singles chart at number 3 and UK Singles chart at number 30. Aaliyah released Hot Like Fire alongside The One I Gave My Heart To, which was her final single from the One in a Million album on September 16, 1997. The song did not chart on the Billboard Hot 100, but did chart on US R&B Hip Hop Airplay chart at number 31. The One I Gave My Heart To and Hot Like Fire share the same statistics in the United Kingdom as they were released together as A and B side. One in a Million, as mentioned before, was released on August 13, 1996. The album debuted at number 20 on the Billboard 200 chart, selling around 40,000 copies in its first week. The album began to decline in sales until the release of Aaliyah's signature One in a Million song, which gave the album a much-needed resurgence, causing the album to gain a new peak at number 18 on the Billboard 200 chart on the week of February 1st, 1997. In recent years, with the album being made available on all streaming platforms, the album gained a new peak position at number 10 on Billboard 200 chart on the week of September 4th, 2021. One in a Million was certified 2 times platinum by RIAA on June 16, 1997. According to several online articles dated in 2011, the album has reportedly sold 3.7 million copies in the United States and 8 million copies worldwide. In an article commemorating the 20th anniversary of the album's release and the 15th anniversary of Aaliyah's death, Dean Van Wyn from The Independent stated, "Its handprints can be seen all over the 2 decades of pop music that followed." Journalist Craig Seymour from the Buffalo News stated that One in a Million changed the sound of pop and R&B radio, and that it's the reason that polyrhythmic smashes such as Christina Aguilera's Genie in a Bottle and Destiny's Child's Say My Name exist. In 2020, the One in a Million album was ranked at number 314 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Albums of All Time. In 2022, the One in a Million album was ranked at number 15 on Pitchfork's 150 Best Albums of the 1990s. The title track has been sampled and interpolated by the likes of artists such as Tink, Jay-Z, Nipsey Hussle, Iggy Azalea, Missy Elliott, and most recently, Normani. Moreover, the song was ranked on Pitchfork's 250 Best Songs of the 1990s at number 36, respectively. This album, unfortunately, didn't receive any Grammy nominations, but it did obtain a nomination for the 1996 Soul Train Awards for the Best R&B Soul Album by Female, losing to Toni Braxton. This album is an entire vibe. You can listen to this album from beginning to end with no skips. I am grateful for this album because of the resurrection of Aaliyah's career and the beginning of Timbaland and Missy Elliott's career. Aaliyah redefined the meaning of R&B by creating an edgier, alternative, sensual, and more modern approach to 90s R&B. It's dope. This album was incredibly substantial, as many wanted to work with Aaliyah, Timbaland, and Missy Elliott after this album, with some acts such as Destiny's Child, Brandy, Justin Timberlake, Jay-Z, and Ludacris. My only problem with this record is that some of the re-edited versions of the singles were better than the original versions, like Hot Like Fire, or the single version of the one I Give My Heart To. That's just my opinion. Y'all don't kill me. Also, No Days Go By should have been on the United States version of the album. It's such an underrated bop. I feel like people should have heard it in the Americas. But, that's just my opinion. Also, I strongly believe the One in a Million song would have definitely been a contender for the top spot on the Billboard Hot 100 had it been released commercially. The song's replay value was through the roof. It still is through the roof. This album should have been nominated for a Grammy as well. Oh, and now that this album is available for purchase and streaming, and we are now in 2023, I think it's time for RIAA to officially update her certification of this album. I am more than sure that this album has sold more than 10 million copies worldwide at this point. Overall, I love this album. Love this album. My most favorite songs on this album are No Days Go By, of course, Hot Like Fire, Timbaland's Groove Mix, One in a Million, 4-Page Letter, Giving You More, and Choosy Lover. Shout out to the Isley Brothers. Listen, I appreciate you all for watching Eras Examined. Did you enjoy today's episode? Also, what are your top 3 songs off of Aaliyah's One in a Million album? You gotta choose. But anyway, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below who you'd like to see me place a huge spotlight on in the next episode of Eras Examined. I'll chat with y'all later. Deuces.